How many people use music to heal themselves? Okay, let's say you don't have a way to get out.
Yeah.
What do? I want an extraordinary life. And God said, okay, but to be extraordinary, there is a cost. That is a common theme with every single story that we've looked at, every life. There is a cost to being a healer. There is a cost to being a leader. There is a cost to being extraordinary. It's not all sunshines and daisies, because you can't fake extraordinary. Life has to teach you the lessons that you're asking it to teach you. Could you see me? Did I do it all right? Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane.
I'm Mark.
Today is January 25th. We are still in the month between worlds, a seeker crossing the veil. That is our January theme. Today's topic is the healer, and our theme for today is a wounded healer. So just a reminder that we look at these stories through these specific themes and topics so that we can focus on what we're healing today.
Right.
There are so many different ways to interpret folklore, and here we're just trying to focus on our personal healing and spirituality and growth, and using stories to elevate that.
Yeah.
So our whole purpose is to listen to these stories, these myths, learn a little bit more about our culture as human beings, that whole I am connected. So we're just trying to get back and connected. But remember that the beginning, when we say our topic and our theme, we say that before the story so we can really focus on what the story is trying to tell us.
Listening to it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
And so instead of it being the classic, here's the story, what did we learn after? Here's what I want you to focus on. And then after, we come together and we do a little bit of healing with it.
Right. And just so everybody knows, I listen to it twice every time. Sometimes I'll even rewind within the story and listen to specific parts. Now, obviously, I'm talking about it, but I think it helps because each time I hear something different.
Listen to it as many times as you want.
Yeah, and then you can jump in wherever we're at and listen to it and back and forth as many times as you need. You know?
Our four stories today come from Greek, Celtic, Navajo, and Chinese folklore. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at these. And remember, we're looking at the wounded healer. We'll see you after this. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. Chiron, the Wounded Teacher. In Greek myth, healing is not born from perfection. It is born from injury endured. Chiron was not like the other centaurs. Where they were wild, drunken, and violent, Chiron was disciplined, wise, and restrained. He was son of Cronus and the nymph Philyra, and from his birth he stood apart from both gods and beasts. His form marked him as different. His nature required him to become more. Chiron lived on Mount Pelion, far from courts and chaos. There he became a teacher not by proclamation, but by practice. He mastered medicine, music, prophecy, hunting ethics, and the arts of balance between instinct and reason. Heroes were sent to him not to be praised, but to be shaped. Achilles learned restraint from him. Asclepius learned medicine. Jason learned leadership. Heracles learned discipline before strength. Chiron did not rule, he instructed. Yet for all his wisdom, Chiron carried a wound that could not be healed. During a conflict involving Heracles, a poison arrow struck Chiron's leg. The arrow was tipped with hydra venom, incurable even by divine skill. Chiron, immortal by death, could not die. He could only suffer. The irony was complete. The greatest healer in Greek myth was unable to heal himself. Chiron tried everything: herbs, knowledge, endurance. Nothing eased the pain. Time did not dull it. Immortality became torment. His wound was not punishment. It was circumstance. And circumstance, in Greek thought, is often crueler than judgment. Chiron did not retreat from the world. He continued to teach. His suffering refined his instruction. He no longer taught strength without humility, skill without restraint, courage without awareness of cost. His pain did not make him bitter. It made him precise. He knew what wounds did to the spirit. He knew that survival alone was not healing. Eventually, Chiron made a choice. Prometheus, the titan who had given fire to humanity, was bound and tortured eternally. Chiron offered his immortality in exchange for Prometheus's release. Zeus accepted. Chiron was allowed to die, freed from pain, and Prometheus was unchained. In death, Chiron was honored by being placed among the stars as the constellation Centaurus. Greek myth does not call this a tragedy. It calls it completion. Chiron's wound was not meant to be erased. It was meant to teach him how to teach others. Healing, in this tradition, is not the absence of pain. It is the transformation of pain into wisdom that can be passed on. Chiron shows that medicine does not come from distance. It comes from having been there. Story 2. Brigid, she who heals what burns. In Celtic tradition, healing is not separate from pain. It grows from it. Brigid is one of the oldest and most enduring figures in Irish mythology. She is a goddess of many domains: healing, poetry, smithcraft, fertility, and sacred flame. These are not separate roles. They are expressions of one truth. What is broken can be reforged. What is wounded can become luminous. Brigid belongs to the Tuatha De Danann, the divine people who inhabited Ireland before human settlement fully took a hold. Her power was not violent or dominating. It was sustained. Where other gods won battles, Brigid tended what remained afterward. Healing, in her care, was not instantaneous. It was attentive. Brigid was said to walk among the people, especially the vulnerable. She attended births. She watched over livestock. She guarded wells whose waters carried restorative power. These wells were not magic in isolation. They healed because they were kept, remembered, and approached with respect. Brigid's association with fire reveals the deeper logic of her healing. Fire burns, fire purifies, fire reshapes. As a smith goddess, Brigid oversaw the forge where metal is wounded by flame in order to be strengthened. As a healer, she understood the body and spirit the same way. Injury was not a sign of failure. It was a moment of transformation requiring care. One of the most enduring myths connected to Brigid tells of her grief. When her son Ruadon was killed in battle, Brigid did not suppress her pain. She keened. Her cries were said to be the first keening heard in Ireland. Through her mourning, grief became ritual. Pain became language. Loss was given a form that could be shared rather than carried alone. From that moment, lament became part of healing tradition. Brigid did not deny suffering. She gave it voice so it would not rot inside the soul. Over time, Brigid's identity carried forward into Christian Ireland as Saint Brigid of Kildare. The sacred fire at Kildare was kept burning continuously by women devoted to her, bridging pre-Christian and Christian worlds. The tradition did not erase her role, it preserved it. Healing remained central. Care remained sacred. Brigid's crosses were woven not as decoration, but as protection. They were placed in homes and barns to guard against illness, hunger, and harm. Her feast day marks the return of light, the moment when winter loosens its grip and recovery becomes possible. Brigid heals not by removing pain from the world. She heals by teaching how to tend it. In Celtic understanding, medicine is not dominance over injury. It is relationship. What burns must be watched. What wounds must be honored. What grieves must be given breath. Story 3. The Medicine Men and the Way of Balance. In Navajo tradition, healing is not the removal of illness. It is the restoration of balance. The Dene understand the world as a living system, ordered by Haujo. Beauty, harmony, balance, and right relationship. Illness does not appear without cause. It arises when a person falls out of alignment with the natural, spiritual, or social order. Healing, therefore, cannot be rushed or isolated. It must address the whole pattern. Medicine men and women are not healers because they possess power. They are healers because they remember. They remember the stories of creation, the paths of the holy people, and the songs that hold the world together. Their knowledge is learned over many years through apprenticeship, memorization, ceremony, and lived discipline. Each chant, each sand painting, each herb belongs to precise context. To misuse them is dangerous. In Dene belief, sickness may come from many sources: contact with death, violations of taboo, imbalance with nature, or disruption of thought and speech. The medicine person does not accuse. They diagnose the pattern. Healing begins by naming what has gone out of harmony. Ceremony is central. Through chants that may last days, the healer recreates the original stories of emergence and order. Sand paintings are laid upon the earth using crushed minerals and plants. These images are not art. They are temporary doorways. The patient sits within them so that balance may pass through their body and mind. Every word spoken matters. Songs are sung exactly as received from the holy people. The voice of the medicine person becomes a conduit, not an invention. Silence is kept where required. Certain truths are not spoken aloud outside ceremony. Healing depends on restraint as much as expression. The medicine person does not claim success. Healing is attributed to restored harmony, not personal skill. If balance returns, it is because the pattern has been corrected, not because illness was conquered. If it does not, the healer bears responsibility to continue learning. Wounds, in Dene understanding, teach awareness. A person who has suffered imbalance understands how easily harmony can be disturbed. Those who become medicine people often carry personal hardship. Their own experiences of illness, loss, or dislocation deepen their ability to recognize imbalance in others. Healing is not dramatic. It is precise. It is slow enough to be true. The medicine person restores not only the individual, but the relationship between body, community, land, and story. Health is not isolated survival. It is belonging in right order. Story 4. The Immortal Herbalist and the Root that Endures. In Chinese tradition, healing is not conquest over the body. It is cooperation with time. Long before formal medicine was codified, Chinese myths spoke of Chiron, immortal wanderers, sages, and herbalists who withdrew from ordinary society to study the rhythm of nature. These figures were not immortal because they escaped death by force. They endured because they learned how to live in alignment with breath, season, and substance. Among the oldest of these traditions is the figure of Shanong, the divine farmer. Shanong is remembered as a culture hero, not a distant god. He walked among early people teaching them how to cultivate crops, taste plants, and survive without guesswork. His body, according to legend, was transparent. When he ingested herbs, their effects could be seen moving through his organs. In this way, knowledge entered the world through his suffering. Shanong tasted hundreds of plants. Some nourished him, some healed him, some poisoned him. Each wound taught discernment. He did not seek invulnerability. He accepted risk so others would not have to. His body became a testing ground. From this came the earliest foundations of Chinese herbal medicine, later recorded in the Shanong Bensao Jing. The immortal herbalists who followed his path lived in mountains and forests, where time moved differently. They observed how roots grew slowly, how leaves gathered dew, how minerals formed through pressure and patience. Healing, they believed, could not be separated from environment. A medicine taken without regard for season or constitution could harm as much as it helped. Chinese medicine understood the body as a landscape. Qi followed like wind. Blood moved like rivers. Organs corresponded to elements and emotions. Illness occurred when these forces fell out of rhythm. The healer's task was not to suppress symptoms, but to listen, to observe pulse, breath, temperature, and spirit, to select herbs not by potency alone, but by compatibility. Bitter roots cooled excess heat. Warming herbs restored depleted fire. Tonics rebuilt what had been exhausted over time. The immortal herbalists were said to live long lives not because they avoided pain, but because they respected limits. They knew when to intervene and when to wait. They withdrew from excess ambition. They treated their own bodies as carefully as their patients. Some legends tell of herbalists who achieve immortality accidentally. Others warn that obsession with eternal life leads to imbalance and decay. True longevity, the story insists, comes from harmony, not hoarding years. Healing in this tradition is cumulative. Small corrections over time preserve life better than dramatic cures. A wound teaches what must be strengthened. Illness reveals where care has been neglected. Medicine restores conversation between body and world. The immortal herbalists did not promise escape from death. They taught how to live well enough that death arrives without violence. Hey everybody, welcome back in. We hope you enjoyed those 4 stories. Again, we are on January 25th, the healer, the wounded healer. Today's daily thread is that across these traditions, healing does not arise from distance or perfection. Chiron teaches through a wound he cannot erase. Brigid tends grief and fire so pain does not consume what it touches. Dene medicine restores harmony rather than battling illness. And Chinese herbalists listen to time, root, and rhythm to preserve life. Each story reveals that pain becomes medicine when it is carried with care. Healing begins when suffering is transformed into responsibility. The first one, the ancient Greek one, I didn't realize that this centaur was the son of Cronus.
So which one's Cronus?
Cronus is Zeus's father. He was that teacher on top of being the healer, and we see that he was the greatest. And that's the irony. It does say that his suffering refined his instruction. So he no longer taught strength without humility, skill without restraint.
That part, while I was listening back, stuck out. Makes sense. When you are able to, because like me personally, I had surgery on my ankle, right, to fix it so it wouldn't hurt, because it would hurt sometimes, right? After surgery, it hurts every day. It doesn't, there's never a day where it doesn't hurt, you know, and then I don't have full mobility. So it's like, dang, that stinks. Because before, it would just kind of go out every once in a while. Now, is it a surgery I needed? Yeah, probably, but I don't think the surgeon was the best or something. I don't know. Something,
Right. Like it
something was
didn't
bad
heal.
right. Something was all bad about it. But living with that daily pain has led me to, I don't know, look at things differently, cherish things certain ways, to like live with pain without like at points in my life I didn't want to live with the pain, so I like just overprescribed myself on like over the counter ibuprofen, Tylenol, and stuff like that. I don't take it anymore.
I don't take any of that anymore, but I was in the same place. Told you to get through that first soccer game after I tore my hamstring at 8 ibuprofens.
Right. I mean, are there days where I'll still, yeah, of course, but like that's now.
But now you reassess
Further.
how much you need it.
Does it truly hurt, or is it just like now, is it like a phantom thing where I'm making it up?
Right.
But like, to go back to the story type of thing, is to live with that daily pain. He was able to teach, and before he wasn't humble.
He was better than the rest of the centaurs, wiser, more orderly, more.
Right, but to feel that, to always know that you're better, like your shit doesn't
he was
stink.
humble.
And then for this arrow to hit him not to be able to fix it, him to just have to live with this suck. And then to still teach and to be good while living in that pain, that really shows who you are.
Right.
You know, and that, I think that's a lesson we can take from this, is you could essentially have everything you want, right? Mm-hmm. But to live with that suffering is why, you know, when I can move on from it and just be free of it.
Yeah, you can heal yourself of that suffering. And while it does say that the irony was that he never erased it, he did. He took control of it with the only way he could have.
Yeah.
And he offered his immortality. But he did know his value. He knew the value of his life. And he wagered it to write one more thing before he left. I mean, they were proud beings in general. And that was an aspect of the centaurs, is that they are proud. Mm-hmm. So that's, you know, another thing that they had to deal with. And him believing that and living in that pride was, you should be proud, but in a different way. Mm-hmm. Because of who you will become after this.
Right.
Because of the healings, emphasizing the Greek myths, emphasizing knowledge earned through endurance. So pushing yourself through and learning through your suffering, learning through your struggle, healing. Pain becomes medicine only when it's carried with responsibility. Do something with it.
Right.
Learn from it. Mm-hmm. Don't waste this. And maybe that is a big aspect of today's stuff, is we have all these advancements in medicine through a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. We learned a lot of this stuff through a lot of weird whatevers. You know, some are great, some are terrible.
Yeah.
We learned them, but that pain can become your medicine. What can your body already do? We're only in January, and a big theme that we've noticed with the Greeks' tales and the folklore is that it is a lot of that epic and a lot of that tragedy.
Yeah.
But we take it as tragedy today when that's not what it really was. It was responsibility. It was accountability.
Yeah.
It was knowledge. It was leadership. It wasn't tragedy. It was your duty in one way or another. And
Right.
that's what we have to remember. Let's look at the second one, the Celtic one. So this was that heavy emphasis of care over cure. When I watch doctor shows, obviously I'm certified now though, because I've watched Grey's Anatomy. So when you see some people reject transplants, there's no, like they can't explain it. It didn't take.
Well, I think that's what happened with me with my ankle.
Yeah.
Because I have somebody else's parts inside my body, like their cartilage inside of mine, and I think some of it just didn't take, you know.
That might be exactly it, is that it's rejecting and it's care over cure. Just like I said, you know, we get told when we aren't, I mean, I wasn't in medicine at all. So I would believe anything a doctor said to me. I would believe anything someone in medicine would say to me. And now we're seeing that this alternative medicine,
Was the original medicine.
is the original medicine. It was tested and used. Like, this wasn't just a story that was there one day. This was thousands of years of a lot of these cultures' background. And the healing.
You look in any old myth or legends, and they're healing people with sound and vibration. And why did we get away from that?
Because we stopped listening.
Because-
We stopped seeing.
Yeah, we stopped living with, because we allowed somebody to tell us we needed and wanted things. And the more things we got, the further we got from Mother Earth and everything. And that's where we're at now, you know. And I think that's why a lot of us are waking up to where we can have the things, but now let's figure out how we can live within that together in harmony. So.
And that's a lot of this Celtic one too, is that the pain, we're transforming the pain. The medicine isn't there to just eliminate it, but it's there to create the conditions in which that pain can change, can transform before it consumes everything it touches. And like you said, sound. How many people use music to heal themselves? And not just that when you're sad, but when we're trying to get pumped up for the gym. When we're down and we're trying to listen to upbeat music. When we're angry and we're listening to that music. Sound does change the chemistry.
Yeah, for sure.
And so this, I mean, not just sound, but the life around us does. It's constantly offering itself. We just have to sit and, like you said, just see it. Start looking at it again. Start hearing it more. Another thing with the second one that I really wanted to touch on is that she's a goddess of the fire. She was a guardian of the fire as well. And that's how she learned the healing process.
Right.
So she learned how fire can burn, purify, but then it reshapes you. How metal could only be hardened by being weakened, by being changed, by transformed by fire. So the pain that it endured, that metal endured, was necessary to strengthen it. And that's what she's trying to teach us, is that care and utilizing the pain is every single piece of pain something that we should do that with? No. There are times where we're in pain, we need to reach out to people. We need to get help. But when you are tended with care, you can get through a lot of things. The pain is something that can be transformed right away. You see a lot of stuff about zodiac signs, right? And that the fire signs are always the hot-tempered, destructive, all about me, shining stars, kind of egotistical people. But then we see that fire when tended, Fire, when cared for, is anything. Anything you want it to be. Just like every other element has its downfalls, it needs whatever. Fire needs tending, it needs care.
Or it's just.
Or it can be destructive.
Chaos.
It's either put out or spread out. Or too fragile for anything. This third one was talking about just imbalance in general. Imbalance in general needs attending to. And so it may not be something you see. This could be something internal. And how it said that in that belief, sickness may come from many sources: contact with death, violation of taboo, imbalance with nature, or disruption of thought and speech. So yesterday being our voice, and then today that's a huge thing, is you are imbalanced. You are going to feel sick. It needs tending to.
Yeah.
And alternative medicine, it challenges you as the person asking for help, as a person needing healing. It challenges you to accept yourself as a whole being.
Yes.
Not just a physical being. And to ignore anything else is that whole cure without care. And it's not longevity. It's not increasing the meaning of your life. It's not increasing the way you can live it. You know, you have to address all of it. And this story 3 was, you can't fight your way into being it. You lived it.
Yep.
And that's a burden you don't want to bear. But if you bear it, you bear it responsibly. And that, I think, has been a huge shift in our society as well. Just remembering that all of us, and we had this talk, my dad came in and surprised us today. And I love that he did, and we could share a little bit about my frustration about what you went through.
Yeah.
You know, it's very much been about me. I think that's because there were some events recently that we had to address, but that doesn't negate that I'm bothered by what's happening with you.
Yeah.
And I hope you do know that. But I'm glad that my dad got to come in and we could address that. We so much push that if you physically can be there, if you can be the body in the room, you can be the body doing the job, driving the truck, moving, whatever, you can be there, nothing else matters. And we really fail to address the fact that we have mental health days now.
Yeah.
We have days that are for our spiritual, our mental, our emotional well-being, because if you're not there, this is in danger. Your vessel, your body is there are gonna be consequences. It was just like what I told my dad. I really don't care. I may be scared and it may suck, but there's certain situations where, no, you need help, then you need help. And I'm not going to allow, and no one should allow themselves to be in a dangerous situation. This story really said, no, if you're out of balance, you need caring to.
Yeah.
And that starts with you opening yourself up to the fact that you do. And so just remembering that sickness, medicine isn't just for the physical. It's not just for that serious depression, that serious anxiety. Well, I'm just a little anxious. I'm just a little whatever. No, you're out of balance at all.
Yeah.
You need some caring too.
Yeah, we as a society allow ourselves to live out of balance for so long. You know, it's sickening and sad to look back at my life and realize how long I've been out of balance. That's disturbing because it was my whole life for the most part. Maybe when I was a kid, not so much, but growing up and stuff, getting away from that. I mean, throughout high school and stuff, I would go up camping and stuff and kind of do my own thing. And I wasn't really, but growing up in a small community like this where we could get out in nature and stuff, but I've always kind of gotten out of nature, but losing that living with it and really truly understanding how my energy was affected, and how my energy affected my well-being.
And how your imbalance in the energy of that is affecting everything around you.
Right, and how it just made the yuck visible in my life. And that was the biggest part, takeaway from it, you know. Take care of yourself and your well-being, and the world around you starts to look better.
And how many people don't even know they're not balanced? They're living in imbalance.
I didn't know.
Because they didn't know who they were.
Exactly.
They didn't listen to that. And it begins with being uncomfortable. Endure today. You know, and enduring in mind while still appreciating and loving the day. You know, don't let it be your main focus.
Mm-hmm.
You got to kind of focus on other things. Just this final piece for the Navajo one, it is right at the end. They say the medicine person restores not only the individual, but relationship between body, community, land, and story.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and this is the one that said it would take time, right? Where it was like, this isn't going to be something that's quick.
that was the second one.
That was number 2.
Yeah,
I think with
so
any of
through
these,
the fire.
Though,
All of these are saying that there's several steps. It's not just gone right away.
Mm-hmm.
And to truly have it gone ever, there's some other things that probably have to be addressed with it.
Mm-hmm.
We're learning now. I mean, not learning now. People already know that their emotions trigger different parts of your body to react certain ways or to be in pain.
Mm-hmm.
It emphasizes restoration rather than repair. Illness is not an enemy to defeat, but a signal that balance has been disturbed. Medicine comes from remembering how harmony is maintained and respectfully restored. Towns, whole communities can be in balance.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the sickness and the death and the constant cycle of there's always something going around.
Yeah.
And that's kind of scary, really, because then you're living in constant imbalance. I didn't really think about that till this story.
Yeah, and then you can be the light of that town and not even know it. And you could be what's keeping the glue. You know what I mean? You could be that glue.
Right.
That's keeping things, and you don't even know. But it's just that mental aspect of the energy that you're putting out into the community that is helping those little things here and there.
Right.
To where you hope when you leave, you've put enough glue out there.
Or shined enough light.
Right, to where somebody else is going to take that and they're going to start burning brighter because now they have to.
That's that exact quote. It's one of my favorite quotes is in Coach Carter where he talks about that. You don't do any justice by dimming your light.
Right.
By allowing your light to shine, you unknowingly allow others and you give them the courage to do the same.
Right.
So by allowing your light to shine regardless of what happens around you, remaining in balance when everything else is totally whack, you are giving people the courage to step forward and to allow their light to shine.
Gotcha.
Because have you ever noticed that the people that are shining in their greatness, whatever it may be, you know, creativity, humor, joy, adventure, when they're living in their light, they want nothing else but, like, and I mean truly, you're not worried about everything else. You're not trying to best other people. You're living in yourself and your positivity. They only want other people to be shining bright too.
Right.
In their own way.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, and they're rooting for everybody.
And it does give you that. So often we don't remember, and this healing, the healer in itself teaches us that it's okay to acknowledge that it feels really good when someone else is helping. When someone else is like, you can make it through. I believe in you. Like, as much as we can get through stuff on our own, it feels just so good when someone else helps with that healing because they believe it too.
Right.
And so the fourth one, that was the one that you were immediately like, wait, what? He was transparent. So according to legend, his body was transparent.
Right.
To help show what was happening in the body.
That just is so fun to me. Like, so it's Chinese, right?
Mm-hmm.
When was this from? And then can you give us, so like, on the
This
last...
is old, 3000 BCE up to 200 CE.
And then is there like a description within this one? Like you kind of gave us one on the other one?
So the important note for this one is that healing myths emphasize longevity through balance, not denial of mortality. Medicine is not meant to conquer the body, but to sustain harmony across time. Pain becomes instruction when it is listened to rather than resisted.
I like that.
I knew that I just was really excited for this one.
Yeah.
Because so much of that alternative medicine, especially the herbalistic stuff, heavily attributed to a lot of the Chinese culture.
That's
And
one
so
thing I love
excited
about the
this
Chinese
one.
culture. Like, some of the things, if you look back in and they find the yin and yang symbol, like, and that's what I'm all about. I really want to dig more into Chinese culture. Just because everything I talk about is like,
I have several books
know.
with whole sections on that.
and it's like, but they drew the yin and yang symbol before they should have known about it, because that is the actual symbol. Like when you go at it and look at it microscopically or at the molecular level or whatever level you need to see it, but that's exactly what it looks like. Like you draw the dark and the light with the dots in each, and that's exactly what it looks like through a microscope. What? How? 4,000 years ago? That's what, 6,000 years ago? What?
And every culture does that. They all know, they're so in tune
What's wrong with us
with
now?
their home.
Like, what the?
Like the Vikings, the barbarians, they were using a crystal to
Right.
navigate.
Yeah. And then...
And
yeah.
that's like, Josh Gates proves that works on his show. And it's just like, you get that. You look at these Chinese herbalists. How did you know? And then they had all of these.
And then a
ways of
legend to
thinking.
say that it's see-through, and then they can see what it does to your body. Because that's... so this is the part of this story. Like, they know that these herbs do certain things. Now, could somebody sit there and eat something and be like, oh, this makes me feel good and it gives me energy, like ginseng, right? That's one thing from over there. Sure. But for the other medicines, how would you know that it's getting rid of something? You don't. But then to have a story where they're seeing through somebody, I want to see the story visualized. I want to see what they're talking about. That would have been an
interesting idea, talking about the Anunnaki and stuff.
Yeah.
And you see all of this knowledge and everything. But what if this was
Just
the
a
way that
being.
they were taught medicine, the herbs?
Yeah.
This is how it affects your body. So when you see these signs on the outside, look at what's happening in here.
Yeah.
Like you're just being taught through that. And why not? Why wouldn't it have been that way? You'll love it the more you dive into it, because the amount of spirituality that came out of China.
I would just love to
We're
go over
told
there and
that
just
every day.
live with them for a little bit and just like really like, but into the ones like, not the tourist stuff, but like out in the jungle mountain parts of
And
China.
actually learning, I would love to learn this kind of stuff.
Like the herbal parts. Like
And the spiritualities. And it's not meant to conquer the body.
No.
It's meant to sustain harmony across time.
I love that too, because now you're talking about generational healing. Like your karmic healing, I believe, is what they're talking about.
And all of these, I love this too, but that right there, don't overdo it. So certain plants will be unbelievably great for medicine, but their roots carry the poison, right? But that poison may also be an anti-whatever, There's so much about it, and the different seasons impact it. And there are people that can look at that and they really do know how to use the earth. and we've talked about how self-defense in school should be taught. That would be something that would be beneficial and separate. There are different kinds of self-defense
Right.
based on who you are, you know, that you might need. But this is something too, is learning the medicine of the area
Yeah.
and being taught, especially in like where we live. We have so many mountainous areas. We're a big hunting town. We're a big hiking town, mountain biking.
Definitely an outdoorsy.
We have rattlesnakes
Oh, yeah.
outside, you know, and there's so many places around the world that could benefit by that. Being taught, okay, let's say you don't have a way to get out.
Yeah.
What do you do? And this story reminds us that the earth is your answer. To overconsume, though, is just as dangerous as to be indifferent to the fact that it has healing. And so many people are scared because, well, it's not, I don't know, it's that witchy woo-hoo. You know that your medicine has the same stuff in it. It's just has some other stuff in it.
Yeah. Little
It's the
twinkle
additional
dust
stuff.
of something that ain't good
Yeah,
for
and
you.
it's like, yeah, it makes me feel better right away.
Yeah.
But long term, if I can make it through, that's like when I told you I had my surgery and I didn't want to take the oxy.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend, we're still best friends pretty much. She's my sister, but her dad, he always told us, you know, he used every drug, tried every single plant medicine there was. The worst thing he told us to get addicted to was oxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that prescription medicine, you know, hydrocodone, all that stuff. If you do not need it, don't even dabble.
Yeah.
And he's like, I mean that, like, on the streets, out when you're in the hospital, whatever. I had my surgery and I said I didn't want to take it. They made me take the one right after. You know, and they're like, hey, yeah, take it with you. I told them I didn't want to take it with me. I would make it through. Didn't believe me. I walked, right? This how much they told me to, but I came back so peppy compared to the other people that had come in that they thought that I was taking it, and I took in the pill bottle and was, nope, I wasn't. I really don't need it.
That's mind over matter, 100%.
Yeah, and it was simply because in the back of my head I was hearing his voice. If you don't need it, if you can endure it, like that first story.
I would have loved to have gotten that because, man, all these surgeries and all this stuff and all the times I took way too many. I took way more than I should have. Now, did I take more than what was prescribed? No. But did I need that much either? No. But like I've had quite a few surgeries, but believe me, when I had those at that time, yeah, I made sure I took all my prescriptions. Then it got to a point where I would start cutting back. But
that's something we've hugely missed about the community aspect, is that we as a world are a community. And there are medicines that we are hiding or that we aren't bringing to light or that only certain people know about, and it is a shame.
Yeah, there is a lot of unfortunate stuff going on, but that's why I think we need to build a community of people that, one, want to listen to these stories to heal themselves, that are like, okay, enough's enough. Let's start putting out that positive energy together, not to harm anybody else, but to just be like, no, let's put that positive energy out, that good things are coming. The good things will happen, and guess what? By just everybody really truly believing that's coming, it's going to happen. And the more people that know that it's going to happen, it's going to happen faster.
Right.
So just jump on board and just believe and trust the process. That you're exactly where you need to be. You're here at the exact right time because everything it's happening the way it's supposed to. And the broken healer, I feel these stories. Like that's how I feel I am, because I feel, honestly, that's what I feel at the end of the day. That's what I'm for, is healing in one way or another. Whether I'm guiding you to something to get healed or I'm the one helping you do it, I don't know. And I don't mind either way. whatever my goal or job is within what the universe needs me to do, I'm ready to do that. So, but being broken, you know,
Being
knowing that I'm
wounded,
here,
yeah.
you know, to help, and then hearing stories about all these people that were able to still,
They were able to heal because
yeah,
of
and
the
that
hurt that they had experienced or seen, all of it.
and that just makes me just more confident in myself, knowing that I was able to push through all the tribulations that I saw and that I had to deal with, and then moved forward, and I'm still this so positive of a person, like no
That's
matter
because
what.
you said, I want something. I want an extraordinary life. And God said, okay, but to be extraordinary, there is a cost. That is a common theme with every single story that we've looked at, every life. There is a cost to being a healer. There is a cost to being a leader. There is a cost to being extraordinary. It's not all sunshines and daisies, because you can't fake extraordinary. Life
Right.
has to teach you the lessons that you're asking it to teach you. I want to be here. So however I can be here, this idea of my happiness, right? Whatever I need to get there. And so sometimes God goes, all right, it's because of your choices, it's going to be a lot of pain for a while. I am going to break you
Because
and
just
wound you so that you can fulfill.
that's why I resonated with these stories, is because like it's that broken healer. And when you told me before, like I listened to the stories, that's what it was, I was like, compared to lip quiver or something, but it hit me a little bit different, you know. And I don't know, I really liked it. So
These are good.
ones,
And if you
these ones
liked,
helped me.
if
So,
you liked these, I would say dive into Chinese
yeah,
mythology, and not just mythology, folklore, but also their medicine
just their
practices,
traditions,
modern
medicines,
and
yeah.
traditional, because it's still being used. This is our reflection question. How have my wounds taught me to care for something living? We just watched what I think this whole idea is on that Will Smith pole to pole thing. When we looked at the monks and that conversation that he had with the monks that I
Yeah.
asked us to rewind, the healers are saying the same thing. When are you going to die? You know, when am I going to die? Because when you think about that and you let that sink in, you can tolerate things differently. All of a sudden, perspective has shifted.
Yeah. Like
And that's
what
when you're
matters and
taught
what
to
doesn't.
care for something living. And you can live in that every day. To live in that love, like you said, that community, how quick we are to turn to each other when devastation levels the playing field. When all of us need something, how quickly we do as a society turn to each other.
Yeah.
Just like that show. If we lived that way, pain would be taught as a lesson. You know, pain would just be a lesson for us.
Right.
That's why wounded healers are so good, because they do live that way. And that's why I think you did resonate with it too, because we were watching that show. And I can feel how much you liked it from the first episode. Could feel the energy coming off you. I mean, the first couple minutes. When I turned to you and said, you like this show, don't you? It was like the first, 10, 15 minutes? It's because I knew that there were some messages that were just going to be sucky and painful, but so beautiful, because this is a man that's been broken.
Yeah.
And he was not allowed the decency of privacy in the breakage.
Yeah.
And men never are. You know, I think that we as women, people are a little bit more scared or a little bit quicker to help, but men are not given that. And I think almost that can be an aspect that's missed today with our healing, because
Yeah.
men can endure long-term ignorance to their own hurt for the sake of others, whereas that needs to be acknowledged. And that's why I think I just loved seeing how much you liked that show, feeling it right away. And then when I looked at the stories right before I read them, I was like, ooh, he's gonna like it today. And I knew that they weren't going to be super traumatizing stories, but just that nobody is hurt without purpose.
Yeah. Just allow it to be a good purpose.
Like you
and
said,
it will,
yeah, and like you live all the time, is it happens for a reason. You can't say that if you haven't been in a position where that's all you have. Like truly. And that's why I do think you are a wounded healer. But you're healing your own wounds. You know,
Yeah.
there are some things that can't be erased, but they don't have to be part of your story anymore.
Right.
And that's something as well as Chiron from the first one. It was no longer his story.
Yeah, that line.
I loved it. And I mean, knowing what we're doing with our Greek story, it made it just a little bit more exciting that he gave his for Prometheus.
Yeah.
But just remember that all of us are healing, and we do need to give patience and understanding. But those that are really keen to help, those that are usually quickest to help, probably need to be reminded that little bit of thank you, that little bit of acknowledgement of, wow, you can heal for a reason. And that's not because you had a clean and easy slate. Our wounds, once we acknowledge them and acknowledge the place that we're in, we start to care for the most important living thing in our life. And that's us and whatever our creator is, you know?
Right.
But, and I'm saying those as the same because you can't love one without the other.
I'm into that.
Those are the only things truly that it comes down to at the end of the day. Because you can't give it to anyone else if you can't give it to yourself. So we have to remember that too, is sometimes your wounds are teaching you to love yourself, value yourself. And in your process of healing others, remember that you went through what you went through for a reason. And you are still healing and you still are fighting through. But give yourself some grace, because look at what you'll be able to do now. Through your pain and suffering, you will be able to do what you've been asking to do. So, okay, so your task today is to tend to one small living thing today with deliberate care. Any living thing, a small animal, a small plant, whatever. Take one small living thing today and tend it with just a little bit of care, deliberate care. Be pretty easy, pretty satisfying right away. This is one of those tasks that is immediately satisfying. Deliberately caring for one small thing today. And then do just one little extra and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Do one small thing for yourself today too.
Yeah, why not?
You know?
Give yourself a hug.
Give yourself a 5-minute break.
Yeah, just a little breath.
And we're going to remember that healing grows when pain is honored, not avoided.
Yeah.
So when we honor our pain, honor when we need help, honor when we don't, that is when the healing starts to spread. And cannot heal ourselves by hurting others, and we cannot heal anybody by hurting others either. So you have to remember that, by hurting ourselves.
Yeah.
So healing grows when we honor our pain, we honor other people's pain for how they perceive it, whatever it may be, but healing is an I and a we thing. So keep that in mind today as you do your small caring. I challenge you to do the 2 tasks as it'll feel really good. You'll probably want to give yourself a treat after you take care of something else anyways. Get a donut.
We're not getting donuts.
We'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Guys, love you.
Popcorn Flourish. Thank you for walking this journey with me today. These stories are more than folklore. They are the heartbeat of our world building, the inspiration behind our characters, and the soul of the Legends Reborn Chronicles. By exploring these tales, we honor the past, ignite the present, and breathe life into the legends we're creating together. To see more of Mark and I, as well as additional scenes, discussions, and healing, check the links below that will lead you to our various social media platforms. Please also feel free to ask any questions or leave any comments in the episode below or in future episodes to come. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, may your path be guided by wonder, curiosity, and the magic of the stories that came before us. Blessings, and I'll see you on our next folklore journey.